Who's the best movie supervillain of 2017 so far? To clarify a few things. One, I'm talking like mainstream Hollywood movies and just Marvel and DC. I didn't watch the Power Rangers movie, sue me. And when I say movies, I mean movies because otherwise, if I was including like TV shows or something, then it would go to Prometheus in season 5 of Arrow because he was fucking awesome.
You have failed this city. Not as badly as you have, Mr. Queen.
So, with that aside, let's talk about the 4 movies that I'm going to be talking about today. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Wonder Woman, Logan, and Spider-Man Homecoming. I think that's fair for it just to be those 4 movies that I'm talking about. If not, too late. Here we go. So, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which was lots of fun, I really enjoyed watching the movie. I thought that it was a little different than the feel of the first Guardians of the Galaxies, which I liked. I liked some things from this one a bit more than the first one. I think overall I liked the first one a bit more, but this one was a worthy successor in my opinion. But when it comes to the villain, the person named Ego turning out to not be a good guy was no twist.
I tried so hard to find the form that best suited you. And this is the thanks I get?
I've seen movies before and I think a little bit ahead, like, oh, if I were writing this, what would be the next thing that happens? And I totally saw the whole, I gave your mom the cancer, Peter, thing coming from just a mile away. And we did spend a lot more time with him than most other Marvel villains in their respective movies, except for, like, Loki. So, on Marvel standards, he was good, but as a supervillain, As for the Logan villains, they weren't even trying to go for a surprise factor there, which is fine, but they were pretty cookie cutter, like, evil scientist, clone of Wolverine. There you go. I suppose you could say the surprise villain of Logan is corn, or corn syrup. I mean, I didn't see that coming. That's how they killed the mutant race. It's kind of hard to pick up on. Like, most people on their first viewing have no idea what that is. And I mean, they set it up earlier when he's in the cornfield with the family that he's staying at. They're talking about the corporatization of corn syrup and all that stuff. But like a lot of things in the movie, it was left a little too vague. Unless you really pay attention and watch the movie like 2 or 3 times, you really don't even catch on to it. And corn syrup, it's not impressive. Wonder Woman, while an amazing movie and certainly the best thing in the new DC universe so far, Ares was extremely lacking. It was almost like a Marvel movie in that way. Like, I gave 0 shits about Ares being a villain. He wasn't established enough at all, and the real twist with him was that it wasn't the German general. The kill of the German general was ridiculously easy, and for a second, I thought that maybe the twist was that there was no Ares, and Wonder Woman was going to have to confront that man's world really is just evil without the influence of a god, and my mind was about to be blown.
Diana!
I killed him. But nothing stopped.
And then they copped out. They made the British dude be Ares, and he just did not look cool in that armor. Just at all.
Was smashing.
Also, what was a little disappointing about the whole villain reveal that it was the British dude was that they put way too much energy into establishing the German general as Ares, so that when you stop and think about it or watch the movie a second time, it doesn't make too much sense that he's not. I mean, they're trying to make it so obviously him that in retrospect it doesn't make a lot of sense that he isn't. Like Dr. Poison saying that this gas will restore his strength and whatnot. Restore his strength to what? I mean, to god-like proportions? Well, he's not a god. It just makes no sense. So, in case you couldn't figure it out through the process of elimination, I think that the best villain so far, supervillain so far in 2017, is Vulture. My jaw dropped when I realized that Michael Keaton was Liz's father. When he opened the door, and other people in the audience had the same reaction. Some people gasped. I heard that some people thought that Vulture came and like kidnapped Liz's family before they even realized that it was actually Liz's father, because it was just such a great reveal. And it was clearly established, it makes sense throughout. And the reason that it was able to work so well is because they established Michael Keaton's character enough as a real person. They established the non-Vulture part of him so much that, like, I didn't expect a twist to be coming. Like, if he was just the Vulture and you saw 1 or 2 seconds of him and he said some vague things throughout the movie, I would have been like, oh, well, there's going to be a twist with him. He's Uncle Ben or something. But because they showed enough of his character and they gave enough of a reason for him to be doing what he's doing, because he got stopped from doing his work by the government because he feels that Tony Stark screwed him over, because he's just doing it for this established kid that we don't know who it is up until this point, I figured he had enough of a background and enough of a reason to be doing what he was doing so that I didn't expect there to be a twist. He was a cool, established character. And then they show you the kid he's been talking about the whole time. Peter Parker's date. It was ridiculously awesome, and it puts in the personal connection to Peter Parker that Spider-Man villains usually have in the movies that they don't have in the comics.
I didn't want this. But I had no choice.
We always have a choice. You had a choice when you killed my uncle.
And the reason for it is because it's just more compelling to watch when there's personal stakes behind a fight. But it looked like for a while they weren't going to do that, and then they did, and it was a surprise, and it was an effective surprise. I think that he is the best Marvel movie villain so far. I'm going to include Loki in that just because I think Loki's he's gotten a little too lighthearted, heartthrob fan service-y for my taste, but Michael Keaton was never that. Obviously the actual best Marvel Cinematic Universe villains are Kingpin and Killgrave and Cottonmouth from the Netflix shows, but if we're talking just strictly movies, I'm going to have to say Michael Keaton's performance as Adrian Toomes or the Vulture. The car scene alone, whew, I love that scene.
I bet you're glad when your old pal Spider-Man showed up in the elevator, though.
Yeah, well, I actually didn't go up. I saw it off on the ground. Yeah. Very lucky that he was there that day.
Good old Spider-Man.
It was so cool. So yeah, that's the best supervillain that I think there is so far in a superhero movie in 2017. That's not Power Rangers, but maybe that'll change when Thor Ragnarok and Justice League come out later on this year. But for now, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have a good week. I mean, what? No.